President Volodymyr Zelenskyy of Ukraine has said that the troubled country that has been in war with Russia since February 24, 2022 now has new decisions reached with France and United States of America, USA, about the Ukrainian defense. Zelenskyy, who issued both text and video press release few minutes ago, said that the new decisions were reached in Paris during the week when some world leaders gathered to mark this yearly day international ceremony marking the 80th anniversary of the Normandy landings during World War II in France. Details of the press release and other press statements, including the speech President Volodymyr Zelenskyy gave while addressing French Parliament during the week in Paris, reads verbatim below. As a result of negotiations and meetings in France, we now have new decisions from France and the United States regarding Ukrainian defense. I thank our friends. There is progress in artillery, including the manufacture of 155 caliber artillery ammunition in Ukraine. A new production platform is being prepared. We will also have greater combat aviation and electronic warfare capabilities. I am grateful to France and President Macron for taking the initiative and supporting our proposals for soldier training and brigade provision. Together, we are laying a new, systemic foundation for the training of Ukrainian army units. We maintain active communication with all of our partners at all levels. The first peace summit will take place in just a week. There will also be important meetings and talks with European leaders to strengthen our resilience and protection against Russian terror. We have already reached agreements with partners on additional air defense systems for Ukraine. Some will come to fruition sooner, while others will materialize closer to the autumn. I am grateful to every leader and state that practically supports us. New security agreements for Ukraine are also almost prepared. These are the months for making strategic decisions. In May, our battlefield capabilities were expanded, including long-range ones. In June, our diplomacy and strategic perspectives should be strengthened, and everything possible should be done to bring a just peace closer and to strengthen Ukrainian society. During our meeting, Emmanuel Macron and I focused on the peace summit and France's role in the peace formula implementation. In just 1 week, the inaugural peace summit will bring together leaders and states from around the world who uphold the UN Charter. I thank President Macron for attending the summit and appreciate France's leadership in implementing the peace formula points, including the one on radiation and nuclear safety. I am grateful to President Macron for always striving to find the best solution to protect us and the entire Europe. I appreciate the bravery of his decisions and France's leadership. In Paris, I met with bipartisan delegations from the United States Senate and House of Representatives. I appreciate their strong support for Ukraine and important military and financial assistance. I informed members of Congress about the frontline situation and Russia's attacks using guided aerial bombs, drones, and missiles. The U.S. authorization for the limited use of U.S. weapons on the battlefield was extremely important. We also discussed specific steps to limit Russia's ability to target civilian infrastructure. We paid close attention to the Global Peace Summit. We appreciate the United States' cooperation in advancing the summit and encouraging a diverse range of states and leaders to attend. Even in the challenging conditions of war, the Ukrainian economy finds ways to develop and grow, adapting to new circumstances. Ukraine is a favorable market for French investments, and new projects can be launched right now. I met with the heads of leading French companies representing the energy, machine building and electrical equipment, telecommunications, construction, and financial and banking sectors. I am grateful to those French companies that not only continue operating in Ukraine and paying taxes, but also develop their business and make new investments right now. In Paris, I met with Joe Biden. We discussed Ukraine's defense capabilities, the battlefield situation, and our preparations to sign a bilateral security agreement. To ensure effective protection against daily Russian terror, Ukraine must be able to strike military targets on Russian territory. It is also critical to strengthen the Kharkiv region's defense and accelerate the delivery of American weapons. I thank the United States for standing with Ukraine. It is very important for our people to feel that we are not alone, that we are with you, our strategic partner. We also appreciate the United States leadership in advancing the peace formula. I addressed the National Assembly to thank France for its support. Yesterday, we honored World War II victors who defended Europe. Today, we must defend it against the Russian regime, which does not recognize borders. We must prove the power of our unity, alliances, and shared idols. These days, we honor the bravery of the people and the mutual support of the nations that won the Battle of Normandy. The ones who won, and it is the victory that is still being felt on Omaha Beach, where we were yesterday with the President, with Emmanuel, and other leaders. It was precisely such victorious battles, in Normandy and Eastern Europe, in the northern seas of our continent, and in the skies of Britain, in Southern Europe, and in the underground resistance movements in the countries occupied by the Nazis, that returned Europe to humanity. Without victorious World War II battles, there'd be nothing, no one, no us, Ukraine, France, all free nations, no free people in Europe. Had there been no victory over Nazism, our entire continent would have remained a dark stain in history. A source of death for others in the world too. Our Europe is the result of the courage of the men and women of that time, those who, despite fear, did not submit to evil, resisted, and fought. Our Europe is the unity that worked then and always works. It is the choice to fight to prevent evil from taking over your home. There was no other motivation for the Allies except to defend their home and people's right to be human, equally endowed with freedom, dignity, and rights from birth, so that no one would consider themselves a master over others and everyone could choose their own path in life. This is our Europe. This is what was secured by victories 80 years ago. We are grateful for that. And this is something that will not last forever by itself. The day before, on the shores of Normandy, where we all remembered World War II and thanked its victors, there were two simultaneous feelings: the feeling of joy that the victory was achieved, and the feeling of duty, the duty to achieve victory. We live in a time when Europe has once again ceased to be a continent of peace. Unfortunately, and in a time when Nazism is making a comeback, unfortunately, once again, in Europe, cities are being completely destroyed and villages burned. Europe is once again facing filtration camps, deportations, and the hatred that has become the new Russian cult. There are once again attempts to reshape Europe by force and claims that certain people supposedly do not deserve to exist independently. All of this is now aimed against Ukraine, but it is also for the purpose of being aimed against others tomorrow. We can even see the order in which the aggression, Nego, the Baltic states, Poland, the Balkans, and beyond. This Russian regime does not recognize borders. Even Europe is not enough for it. It has already devastated Syria and is causing chaos in the Sahel. It invests in terror and undermines life wherever it can reach and where it encounters no resistance. This Russian regime uses everything to weaken countries, from energy to food. In the 21st century, it has revived the entire arsenal of the past centuries, from naval blockades to the mass abduction of children in order to re-educate them and foster hatred for their homeland. This Russian regime blackmails the whole world, so that the world is afraid to oppose it in full. It will find a way to destabilize everyone, destabilize Europe, and destabilize you. This is what tomorrow may be like. Tomorrow, if Ukraine does not win, this battle against the Russian invaders is taking place on the land of our Kharkiv and Donetsk regions, on the border with Russia and on the outskirts of Kherson, in the underground in Berdyansk, Melitopol and Crimea, in the skies of Ukraine, and in our Black Sea. This battle for Ukraine is as existentially important for Europe as the battles won by previous generations of Europeans. We are at a crossroads when we either write history together the way we need it or we become history's victims as our enemy wants. Our common enemy. Our enemy leaves neither nations nor people in the places it invades. It leaves no right to speak or the opportunity for people to choose how to live. It leaves no life. Look at what Russian control is. The scorched, deserted ruins of our cities and villages. This is a fact. Look at what Putin is turning his own country and people into. This is the territory of the valued life, the opposite of everything we value, the opposite of freedom, equality, and fraternity, and therefore, the opposite of Europe. This is anti-Europe. This is what Putin is. Can Putin win this battle? No, because we have no right to lose. Can this war die down along the current lines? No, because there are no lines for evil, either 80 years ago or now. And if someone tries to draw temporary lines, it will only give a pause before a new war. It is the same now as it was when evil unleashed its aggression against its neighbors in the 1930s. Hitler crossed line after line. Putin is doing the same. And when yesterday direct threats against France were voiced from Russia, it became just another argument in favor of our courage, so that no evil in the world has the audacity to oppose France and declare the French as military targets. Can we win this battle? Undoubtedly, yes, we can. Ukraine, and therefore Europe. Europe, and therefore France. I am as sure of this as France believed in freedom even before D-Day. But that D-Day, like the day of the European victory, was inevitable. I thank France for choosing the side of humanity in this war. The side of culture, the side of international law. Since the first hours, I have known that I can rely on France, on your hearts and principled position. The feeling that Ukraine is standing up to evil united many people in France. French families helped Ukrainian families who were saving themselves from the war. Hearts in France wished us strength. I am grateful for that. Thank you to your people and your families. We can rely on French support, on your weapons, training and diplomacy, on France's political and economic power. French air defense systems, armored vehicles, missiles and artillery, as well as your experience and expertise, are already helping us save lives and deter Russia. I am sure that the day will come when Ukraine will be able to see in its skies the same planes that we saw yesterday in the skies of Normandy. French combat aircraft are brilliant fighter jets that, under the control of Ukrainian pilots, will prove that Europe is stronger. We will be able to prove that Europe is stronger than the evil that dared to threaten it. Now, just as 80 years ago, we can prove it, the power of our unity, the power of the alliance, the power of our shared idols. Emmanuel, Mr. President, thank you for not leaving Europe without leadership and Ukraine without France at the most crucial moments. We are doing our best to ensure that, in 80 years, our cooperation will be remembered as a victorious battle. This is so important. I'd like to give special recognition to each of the National Assembly members. You have recently endorsed the Ukrainian-French Security Agreement. The French Senate endorsed it too. This special document is at the root of our alliance. Thank you for your support and foresight. I thank France for supporting our movement towards EU membership and for understanding that NATO's eastern border cannot have a drop of a gray zone of Ukraine left outside the alliance. Ukraine is the key to the security of the entire Europe. Without control over Ukraine, Russia will have to become a normal nation state, and not a colonial empire constantly seeking new prey, whether in Europe, Asia, or Africa. Practically in 1 week, we will have our new D-Day, Diplomacy Day. The inaugural peace summit, which may become the format that will bring a just end to this war closer. We never relied on the power of arms alone. We were always focused on diplomacy. Putin rejected a diplomatic solution by launching a full-scale war and choosing an attempted genocide of Ukrainians over dialogue with Ukraine. That's his choice. We need world unity to overcome it. A lot of effort is required from countries on all continents. More than 100 states and international organizations have already supported the peace summit. Unfortunately, not all those on whom the world depends have joined us yet. France is with us, and for that, I am grateful. I am grateful for the many things France is already doing. But peace, a just peace, still requires more. And this is not a reproach. This is the way to overcome evil. We must do more today than we did yesterday, so that tomorrow we will be closer to peace than ever before. Together, we are succeeding in this.
OsazuwaAkonedo, bringing you the news in a more digital way.